region. The university has its own 50 acres lush green campus situated at Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and by virtue of this statute, the Chief Justice of India or his nominee is the Chancellor of this university, and the Chief Justice of High Court of Bombay is the Pro-Chancellor of this university. This university was established with a view to impart quality legal education, to develop advanced clinical pedagogies and research. At present, the university is offering various undergraduate and postgraduate programs in the discipline of law, management, and public policy. The university has also started various innovative courses with a blend of law and management, financial services and court administration, medical laws and hospital management to strengthen the future prospectus and employability of the students. Now, talking about the theme of this webinar, my dear participants, the healthcare industry, as we know, is rapidly changing, and with the increase in consumer awareness and consequent rise in medical litigations, there is a need for every professional in the healthcare sector to be able to provide effective and efficient healthcare services which are directed at improving patient outcomes and optimal use of resources. The purpose of this webinar is to discuss and deliberate on the challenges faced by healthcare professionals, especially the hospital staff, and to make them aware of legal aspects, but also to help them understand the medico-legal matters. Our distinguished experts for this webinar who have experience from the field of law, management, as well as medicine, will be discussing and sharing their knowledge, which is essential for the management of multi-specialty hospitals, various healthcare organizations, and programs. So first and foremost, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Honorable Chief Justice Ravindra Borde, former Judge, High Court of Bombay, who is the chief guest for today's webinar. We also have with us Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. K.V. Sharma, our respected Registrar, Professor Dr. Dhanaji Jadhav, Distinguished Emeritus Professor of Law, Professor Lakshminath Sir, Professor of Law and Management, Dr. Santosh Thakre Sir, Dr. Y.V.R. Purti, Associate Professor and Associate Dean of Management Studies, my dear colleagues and participants from the medical field who have joined us online. I once again welcome you all to this webinar on legal challenges before doctors and hospital administrators in patient and hospital management. I would now like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. K.V. Sharma, to deliver the welcome address for today's webinar.
Mic is visible. Good evening, all of you. Honorable Chief Justice Ravindra Borde Sir, Honorable Professor Lakshminath Sir, respected Registrar Dr. Dhanaji Jadhav, my colleague Dr. Santosh Thakre, and respected Dr. Murthy, respected teachers, Professor Jaykumar, Mr. Akash, Mr. Nile, Mr. Sudhar, my colleague Ms. Mehnaz, and non-teaching staff members who present here. Already my colleague Ms. Mehnaz has explained about the university. Actually, legal course, law degrees are offered by three varieties of what you call education institutions. First is state universities, second is central universities, third deemed universities, and private law colleges. Fifth one, recently, what you call 1980s, they started this concept national law universities. These national law universities, they are like IITs in engineering and IIMs in management, AIMS in medicine. In 1986, the then Chief Justice, then Union Law Ministers, Chief Ministers, all these, they decided to establish one national law university in each state, and that state, that university is a model university, and it should guide all the other law schools in the state. And the main difference between other universities and this university, Central University's Chancellor is the President, and State University's Chancellor is Governor, private university's Chancellor is the promoter or his nominee. But this national law universities, they are mainly controlled by judiciary. The Chief Justice of that particular state or Chief Justice of India or his nominee, they are the chancellors. And in reference to these national law schools, first national law school was established in the year 1988 in Bangalore, National Law School of India University. Second in Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh government started in Hyderabad, Nalsar. Third, Bhopal. Fourth, Calcutta, NUJS. Fifth, Jodhpur. Like that, there are 25 law schools are there in the country. And these 25 law schools, we have a consortium and we conduct one common law admission test, CLAT exam. And every year, 1 lakh students are writing. We have only 10,000 seats for BA. And LLM also common law admission test we are taking. So this is about our universities. Then come to the general topic. We have a saying that is Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guru Namaha. Teacher is always what you call God, that there is saying. But another important saying is Vaidyo Narayana Hari. The former Supreme Court Judge Justice Singhi, who was my chancellor in Hyderabad, he said in one seminar, first I treat doctor as number one, I will treat him as a God, then my mother, then father, then teacher. Without a doctor, a person can't live what you call in case any ill health or what you call any problems, health problems if you face. So doctor is a God for every human being. And I am a practical example. I am a stage 4 cancer patient. I was about to die in 2016. But Dr. Senthil and Dr. Pawan, these two persons, they saved my life and I am standing before you. I owe a lot to medical profession and the persons who identified the medicines. And so nowadays, so many medicines they identified, and doctors are also doing thorough research in this particular field. So we treat doctors as what you call a God. But the same doctor's medical profession is in trouble now. Now everyone tries to blackmail the medical profession. Anything simple thing happens, the localites, they come and blackmail, they want to give newspaper, what you call items, and the doctors, several friends of mine, they say, what we have to do in such situation? It's because the doctors, they don't know the basics of law. That's why they are in what you call in utter state of tension, and whatever money the blackmailers are charging, they are paying. So there is a life that's called ignorantia juris non excusa. Ignorance of law of the land is no excuse. Everyone is supposed to know the law of the land. But if you ask me, you know all laws, I don't know. I know only 0.0001% of laws. But the presumption is everyone is supposed to know the law of the land. For example, your medical profession is also regulated by laws. Everything is ending with law. Everything is ending with law. Suppose when once any patient comes to you, you are asking for before doing surgery, you are giving consent form. Consent is nothing but a contract. Immediately, Indian contract will come into picture. If there is any deviation in the terms of the contract, the patient can go to, it amounts to breach of contract. He can go to civil courts against the medical profession, or he can file a civil suit under law of torts for negligence when there is no contract. Or it is also a crime, he can file a criminal case also. In these cases, tackle the situation. If you have some basic idea about these legal principles, you can guide your colleagues, you can guide yourself. So, not only that, nowadays, for everything, they are going to consumer protection forms for every simple deviation. And in addition to that, vicarious liability. Suppose a doctor had a hospital, operation theatre. Then, due to deviations, the patient suffered some injuries. Then he is making the hospital management also, even though it is not a party to the operation, by applying vicarious liability principles. So many legal principles are involved in the legal profession also, and Medical Council Act, and like that, so many laws are there exclusively dealing with doctors. Medical Pregnancy, Termination of Pregnancy Act, like that. Drugs and Magic Illness Act. So many laws are there. So these basics we teach to lawyers. Now, in Telangana government, recently laws that they conducted, we saw maximum number of candidates are MBBS. This particular background, we are planning to start to do some service, some sort of service to medical profession. So the MBA degree medical laws and hospital management. This is useful for doctors. This is useful for persons who are running the hospitals. And the same doctor is running the hospital also. This is useful. Both subjects are useful to the doctor. So we started this particular course. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to introduce you to our next speaker, Dr. Santosh Kakre, who is a professor of law and management and who has conceptualized the theme of this webinar. Santosh Kakre sir has an illustrious career of more than 30 years of experience in the fields of medicine, healthcare management, as well as law. He has served as general orthopedic surgeon for 20 years and has also worked in the capacity of hospital administrator, as medical director and CEO of corporate hospitals for almost 10 years. He holds a PhD degree in law on an interdisciplinary subject, that is changing trends in the law of medical negligence under Consumer Protection Act of 1986. He had analyzed 350 cases of medical negligence decided by the Honorable Supreme Court of India and the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. So got the opportunity to utilize his knowledge in both the fields, law as well as medicine, decide consumer cases against doctors by the patients. And hence, as a member judge of the State Consumer Commission in Mumbai, he discharged his duty to decide consumer matters according to the merit. And he was awarded International Fellow Membership of American College of Legal Medicine. With this brief introduction, I would now like to invite Dr. Santosh Kakre to address our participants on the topics legal challenges before doctors and hospital administrators.
Good evening to all of you. The chief guest for today's webinar is Professor, former judge of MAHARASHTRA, the Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra National University, Aurangabad, Dr. Professor A.V.S. Sarman, the senior host in the field of law, Dr. Professor Lakshmanath sir. Then present in this particular audience are the senior host faculty of law as well as management. The one who is heading the management department, Sir Associate Professor Dr. And those who have joined this particular webinar. Why I saw the registrations, sir, I would like to inform you that the doctors from all parts of the country, they have actually joined this particular webinar, and as well as hospital administrators, they have joined this particular webinar. So I welcome all of you for this webinar as such. So being orthopedic surgeon, general orthopedic surgeon, I was faced with certain challenges. Giving me the opportunity to graduate, but and then what should be to meet a way of saying picture. I decided the consumer cases and feel that the matters of importance of legals. The concept which we are going to discuss today is the legal challenges before doctors and hospital administrators in patient and hospital management. It's a combined, so somewhat specific topic. In short, we will be discussing about what is current scenario in the medical legal field. So I'm going to share a presentation with all of you. As of now, when the Consumer Protection Act was enacted in 1986 and was applicable to the medical profession in 1995. Sir, there are a few of the doctors who are legally qualified as well who have joined, and the stalwarts are also there. So everybody now knows that the Consumer Protection Act, when it was applied in 1995, from that day, multiple number of cases were filed against doctors, and once they were decided, some of the cases were also decided by Honorable Supreme Court of India. This was confirmed that the medical profession is now within the purview of Consumer Protection Act. And the new Act of 2019, already Honorable Supreme Court has confirmed that the Act is applicable to the medical profession. And we all know that the change is the law of life. Due course of time, everything gets evolved. The law governing medical negligence, or the medical law, has also been evolving. Several principles have come up. Legal provisions were actually interpreted by Honorable Supreme Court of India in various cases. We know that these are the landmark judgments in the cases which have put forth the principles, and with the help of those principles, now the medical negligence matters cases, they are being decided. Now, in short, there were various laws, rather acts, which were taking care of this particular field, as the present slide shows. The medical negligence as such has four components. The doctor has a duty, breach of the duty causing injury to the patient, and the injury leading to damage that gives medical negligence as such, and then these are decided, such cases are decided by various courts of law. Coming to what are the current trends as such. So during my PhD study, I studied this particular topic and came out with certain principles. So doctors nowadays not being considered as God, but they are service providers. Patient is a consumer who avails the service of a doctor or a hospital. The legal principles were decided, or rather they came from Honorable Supreme Court's orders. And due course of time, though multiple cases were filed because of the different types of, we can say, judgments, this law, that is law of medical negligence, we can say, though there is no separate law, started getting evolving. The overall perception of the society is a different one, and every doctor is now aware that there is unrest in the society, as well as the doctors are facing that of the society or the patients as such. Different principles were decided, they are being used. I'm not going into much details. We all are aware of the Bolam principle and Bolito principle. One of the change that has happened is the expert opinion, though it is available, possibly because of the Bolito principle, it is the logical analysis which takes care of the expert opinion, whether it is to be accepted by an honorable judge or not. So this change has changed all the scenario all over the world. While evolving, the deficiency in service was also taken as a medical negligence, and the compensation being awarded has been increasing day by day. So this is what is the scenario, and obviously the medical professionals are worried about this kind of a scenario. That means the patients and the relatives, they may not wait for cases to file. Or in addition to that, the violence against medical professionals is increasing. Now, there are certain laws to take care of violence, but still, in many states, these laws are being implemented, and in some states, they are still to be enacted and still to be implemented. Going ahead, so this is not only the Consumer Protection Act, but the other acts as well, that is the Medical Council Act. And sometimes the cases are filed, the criminal cases are filed, establishing the criminal liability of doctors, medical professionals, whenever there is a death of a patient in the hospital. The other certain types of actions which the doctors face, that there are other tribunals which also, like human rights, they are also trying such cases. And so multiple options are available to the patients to take an action or to decide liability of the doctors. Obviously, we doctors as well as the hospital administrators are worried about the outcome of the patient management. So now every doctor is worried about legal outcome of the patient rather than a clinical outcome of a patient. So with this, rather, hospital management also has become a challenging. There are certain responsible fields in which legal regulation is there. And those who are hospital administrators, they are definitely taking care of the legal compliance. And so various legal compliances are there, monitoring by the government agencies is there. So all these things, they are putting a challenge before hospital administrators and the owners of the hospitals. Some of the challenges are increasing cost of the healthcare, or even the delivering the healthcare has become costly. Growing government regulations, like recently we know that the Medical Commission has come into existence, and this is now taking care of, in place of Medical Council, it is now taking care. So day by day, new and new regulations are coming out. Patient satisfaction has become one of the very important aspects in management of patients as such. There are problems of staff shortage, and adopting technology has become challenging. Now, just to mention that the hospital administrator has to look for strategic planning, equipment planning, technology assessment, equipment procurement, and assets management. So all these fields are regulated by different laws, different acts are there. And the hospital administrator needs to know what laws and acts are being they should be taken care of. So before ending this particular talk, there is a now need of having skills to medical professionals as well as hospital administrators. What kind of skills are necessary? No doubt, the new generation is becoming aware. Not only that, those are doctors who are having years of practice, they are also becoming aware. But still, the awareness as well as the skills to handle and manage the patients as well as the hospitals, there is a need to actually have this kind of a training program as such. And so this university is actually coming with a formal degree program. Of course, that will be spoken about at a later point of time. So such a kind of a degree program will be definitely useful for doctors. One more aspect is the senior doctors, now they can have another field to conquer or master, that is field of medical law as well as healthcare administration. So with this, let me stop here. There is definitely a need of such kind of a program, because the legal challenges which are being faced by the doctors and the hospital administrators, they are day by day becoming complicated. And I'm sure with proper imparting of the skill, it will be useful for doctors as well as hospital administrators to take care of their patients in a perfect manner. So I thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Honorable Justice Borde sir, we are going to hear him on this particular subject. So I thank all of you. At the end, I wish to thank Dr. Ashok Murari of OrthoTV because he has actually assisted and helped in taking this particular webinar to thousands through OrthoTV. So let me thank all those who have actively participated from the university and thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights on this topic. I would now like to introduce you to our next speaker, Dr. Y.V. Ramana Murthy. He is currently working as Associate Dean of Management Department. He holds a doctoral degree in finance. He is also a fellow in life and general insurance from Insurance Institute of India and certified financial planner from Financial Planning Standards Board. He has over 2 decades of teaching experience as a regular faculty at Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad, Harper University, Patiala, and GLA University, Mathura. He is a visiting faculty member at IIM Shillong, IIM Kashipur, and also in Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and ICSI and ICMI. He's been serving as external investment advisor for Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited since its inception. He has also conducted more than 50 training programs for officers of All India Services and also to the senior executives of corporate sector. With this brief introduction, I would now like to invite Dr. Y.V. Ramana Murthy to deliver his talk on challenges in hospital management.
A very good evening to Honorable Justice Ravindra Borde sir, the chief guest of this webinar, Senior Professor Lakshminath sir, Vice Chancellor sir, Registrar sir, and Professor Santosh Kapre sir and other faculty members. And I must appreciate all the participants for your enthusiasm on a very emerging topic. I'm sure a quite good number of you would definitely like to emulate and then want to become the next Dr. Naresh Trehan or Dr. Pratap C. Reddy of India. I'm sure you might be dreaming of this. But friends, let us understand how this entire journey takes place. As my predecessor has rightly explained, there are certain set of laws which are exclusively regulating the profession of doctors. But once you are stepping into the shoes of a corporate personality, you are becoming an entrepreneur, then you are inviting a whole lot other set of regulations. Now, just let us take the example of this entire group called Apollo Hospitals. They are there not just only as a healthcare service provider running only hospitals. They are also into Apollo medicines these days. Apollo Munich health insurance. If you look at, someone can actually dream of just starting one polyclinic, from there to a big hospital, and then a chains of hospital, and then a super specialty, multi-speciality, and then from there diversification into whole allied areas. Friends, if you look at the recent past, there are a good number of regulations like SAST regulations, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, and then the Companies Act. If you are wondering why a doctor who wants to become an entrepreneur must have the knowledge of all these, plus the business acumen, let us recollect what has happened in the very recent past of last 6 months to 1 year. Apollo has invested about 520 crore rupees to acquire Vasan Dental Care and another 430 crore rupees to acquire 90 hospitals of NCR Friends, when you read this news, you may feel, oh, they are just injecting huge amount of funds. But where are these funds coming from? Are they coming from the pockets of only Apollo hospitals? Well, the answer is no. There are certain entities like private equities. They would fund your dreams. They also tell you how to grow. And they also help you how to identify your target. And there are management consultancies which tell you how to restructure your organization. Just look at this classic case of how Apollo hospitals generated hundreds of rupees with a small hiving off strategy. In their hospital, and the front end, there used to be Apollo Medicines. Now they hived off that into a separate, wholly owned company, Apollo Medicals Limited, but in which, in the parent company of that Apollo Medicals, Apollo Hospitals holds only 25%, close to. The remaining 75% by strategic investors. So these strategic investors pump in money. When they are pumping in money, what is happening? How could they decide that, okay, for this percentage of 20%, I'm going to give some 300 crore rupees? It means there is so much of valuation happening. So friends, you must know that when investors are investing, they look for higher valuation at the time of their exit. At the same time, if you are running your business called healthcare services, see how intelligently and cleverly they restrain their name. It's not just Apollo Hospitals now. It is Apollo Health and Lifestyle friends. So they know that it is the lifestyle of individuals is going to impact the health. So that you could find in their name as well, right? Okay, if they have money, can they just go on purchase spree, buy every company, every hospital on the street? Well, that is not possible. There is another entity, a watchdog called Competition Commission of India sitting there, and it has its own regulations. Hey, just take a pause. Let us see whether you are good enough to handle the operations without causing problem to other competitors as well. So all your business strategies, your expansion plans, they must happen as per the regulations of the CCI as well, Competition Commission of India as well. Probably 20 years ago, when people were having money, they could just acquire another hospital. Today also it is same, but what makes the difference? There is huge difference in fact. If you look at good number of hospitals these days, they are listed. So if you are trying to acquire a listed hospital, it means you need to follow SEBI SAST regulations. If it is unlisted, then Companies Act is applicable. All these regulations are applicable to other businesses as well. But now you are transforming yourself from a professional doctor into an entrepreneur as well. So you are starting a business entity. So as I said at the beginning, you are inviting other regulations as well. Well, regulations, yes, we all need to follow them. But the other part of now it is called business. How to sustain this competition? We have seen good number of hospitals and healthcare companies knocking the doors of NCLT, right? Some of them are classic failure cases. Probably the failure lies in their fund management, managing hospitals, not able to visualize what is happening, what is going to happen after 5 years, 10 years down the line, how the landscape is going to change. Now, and also how to grab the opportunities. If you look at India throws the medical tourism for all the hospitals in India, those who have witnessed a good number of foreigners in Medanta Medicity would understand that. right? And are hospitals acquiring only hospitals? No. They are identifying very niche areas, some specialty products. So they are acquiring them, merging them, and then hiving off. So, in all, what is this management? Management is nothing but fulfilling your dreams of growing big under a set of rules and regulations. So I welcome you all to a wonderful course which we are going to offer for not just only the practicing doctors, every other person who is there in healthcare sector, whether you are from a diagnostic service or mobile app dealing with delivery of medicines. So what is that? What is so unique about our program? It consists of three important aspects. One, the laws regulating the profession of doctors, and two, law regulating general business and their application to the hospital and healthcare sector, and three, the general business strategy, how to sustain competition as well as grow. We are very happy to announce that we would be starting an executive MBA program in blended mode, trying to fulfill these three objectives. And apart from just teaching, the Department of Management of this university is willing to accept any sort of consultancy services which you are looking forward. With this, I thank Professor Santosh Kakde sir for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable inputs on the theme of this webinar. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you to our next distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. A. Lakshminath, who is a distinguished emeritus professor of law at Maharashtra National University, Aurangabad. He has a vast experience of 5 decades in the field of legal education. He has served in multiple capacities across the country as founder chancellor of DSNLU Vishakhapatnam, founder pro-chancellor, as well as founder vice chancellor of Chanakya National Law University, Patna. He has rendered selfless service to the cause of legal education and has been teaching law since the year 1967 to thousands of students who became eminent lawyers, jurists, public figures, judges, and academicians, among others. Recipient of many awards and honors, Professor Lakshminath was conferred Professor N.R. Madhav Menon Best Law Teacher in 2012. And it is very appropriate to quote Padma Shri Dr. N.R. Madhav Menon's quote when he said that there are few legal academicians still serving the cause of legal education with devotion and commitment, credited to Professor Lakshminath. As a teacher, he excels in class and is admired by students for clarity of expression and his depth of learning. As a colleague, law teachers take him as an elder brother who can be approached for helping in resolving difficult legal problems, and he has become an institution in himself. With these lines, I would now like to invite Professor Lakshminath to enlighten us with his views on the theme of this webinar. While we can give this.
खाली कर
नीचे है क्या? तो दिखता नहीं है। Esteemed chief guest, esteemed chief guest, Lordship, Board Sir, esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Santosh J. Kakdeji, Professor Ramanamurthy, Professor Yadav, learned colleagues, and dear doctor students who have assembled today for this this updating skills in legal aspects of patient and hospital management. This is the topic which the convener of this program has asked me to speak about it. And this is basically the legal challenges before doctors and hospital administrators in patient and hospital management. So leave alone management and administration. In fact, you have heard long speeches from both the professors of management and also the medicine, Professor Kakreji and Ramanamurthy. And I am here to speak not much about legal challenges, because the legal challenges can be effectively faced by doctors as well as the hospital management. But what about the patients? Because these are the two unequal parties. See, the giant corporations, particularly the corporate management and particularly corporate hospitals like Apollos, and this escorts, and this all these people. Before them, we are my small patient, and how effectively I can have a legal challenge with them. The parties should be equal. So basically, this is a question more addressed to the doctors and to the hospital administration as to how they can effectively deal with not the challenge as the challenge with the human science. After law and medicine, you may say medical science and all these things, both are human sciences. Human factors is more important. Law is nothing. In law does not come in vacuum. The hardcore morality is the law. Law, ethics, and morality, they go together. And these are the pillars as far as the medical profession is concerned and also the legal profession is concerned. Medicine and law, these are the oldest and also noblest ones, noblest professions. But of late, friends, these are actually never marketing sciences or marketing disciplines. And ethical standards are most important, particularly to maintain the moral integrity of the profession. And these ethical standards means there is a study of the basic principles of rightness and wrongness, and to keep the moral integrity. The morality is more subjective. Ethics is slightly more objective. That's why you got no medical ethics. That means the objective elements of morality to keep the moral integrity are taken in the medical ethics. And friends, you all know, you also must have taken the oath, Hippocrates' oath, that I do so and so, so and so, so and so. As like all our ministers and all they take no oath on the Constitution of India, the Constitution of India. To what extent this is what ethical question is. So if one see ethical standards, in fact, the legal challenges now will be less. But you have to, as counseling is very important. And friends, as a patient, not myself, but several hundreds of you say the law requires informal consent. Do you really make informal consent? Whether you really make know the patient as to what is going to be done? You don't tell him. Just you ask to see a nurse or staff nurse to go and take the signature. If you don't sign, you see, we will not take. And nobody knows. And you see, it is a big paper and written in English. And many people don't understand English. And suppose if I come here, it is in Marathi. Sign. If you sign, then only we'll take you. I mean, does it conform to the ethical standards? Say, well, doctors, I am not criticizing, but see, let us take from a human angle. A cobbler also deals with the skin, but dead skin. A barber also deals with the skin, living skin. A doctor also deals with the skin, surgeon. But these three are different. People come to you because of the skill. You are paid for the skill. And they expect to see more duty of care, not to be thrown like corpses. And you have been seeing, in fact, the COVID-19 has given rise to several challenges. How many doctors have faced, tell me. This is a real testing time. And at least the medical profession was such, is never market-oriented. At least for centuries. But of late 19th, late 20th century, and the 21st century has become, a money spinning, industry it has become. And doctors, scientists, and pharmacists. In fact, I am not hiding in this, all is known as in almost all journals. And these three people, I think they are controlling the entire medical health system. So, take how far and to what extent, as a person pursuing the human science, you can there is no need of any Consumer Protection Act. There is no need of any medical negligence, all these claims. If once you conform to ethical standards. Here, of course, all these questions ultimately they raise the point of justice. After all, the medical law, legal challenges to get justice. What justice needs? You may have so many positive conceptions. After all, justice needs maximization of welfare. Take care of the patient's health. Maximize his welfare. And you give maximum freedom for you. You have to, you take the fees, reasonable fees. And above all, pursuit of justice. These three principles. Your medical ethics, your medical morality, and legality, all must they surround, they go around about these aspects. Welfare, freedom, and also virtue. Here you enter. Did you ever speak to any patient? No. Simply you give some feedback. You never see. The hospital administrator, he is not concerned. He is divorced from the specialist. Specialist does his job and goes away. And this all is so concocted, I tell you. Big hospitals are there. There is no specialist. And last minute they will come and see, they'll say, they'll bring somebody and come the operation. Then she has signed consent. Patient dies. Nobody bothers. And sir, even to take a dead patient, this is not exaggeration. Even to take a dead patient, a dead body, you have to pay bribe. Even the biggest hospitals. How far and to what extent ethically you are responsible for this one? And hospital management must concentrate on this thing. Did you ever counsel the patient? Why the patients get so much angry? Because the top man never speaks. We can't even see him. You can see the Prime Minister, you can see the President, but you can't see the top administrator of a corporate hospital. Even a small hospital. Here comes the hospital management. And totally they are so negligent. Negligence is a small word. Careless negligence, particularly the hospitals, so they show. And it's these aspects, in fact, I'm very happy. I think, with the encouragement of Justice Bordesar, the Vice Chancellor has started this course. It is not merely a university, it has become multi-versity. And I'm very happy that you have joined. As doctors you must show the way to other doctors. That hospital planning and hospital management is something, it is patient-friendly, not marketability. Market orientation, you have seen during COVID-19, you have minted money, but there were some heaps and heaps of dead bodies. Nobody bothered about it. Crores of bodies. Easy to see as a health professional. as a healthcare specialist, is it this your responsibility to society? No. How many doctors have made millions of money, but at what cost? At millions of lives. Life is more important. See, Vaidyo Narayano Hari, what for he comes to you? Because he takes you next to God. He has not seen God, but he will see God in you. Management and all these things, forget about it. You have to have, see, a heart to take care of the patients. And this is the justice what they demand. And this is what, you are supposed to do it. If you cannot do this one, these hospitals, these are things which have to take care of this thing. That's why take care of maximum. And here is a number of instances, I think, even there are moral questions, particularly in surrogacy. Legality is something different. Take, for example, surrogacy. India has become a big market for selling the womb. And there are moral questions. And law takes care of only it's a contract. When you have a contract to give sperm, you have a contract to rent a womb. So what is the agony which the mother suffers? Have you ever taken care of it? It has become a more marketable commodity. Health cannot be marketed. Your medicine cannot be marketed. You have not come on your own, you have not become a doctor. The society's effort also is there. You have not built mansions on your own. But what you owe to society, you have responsible society. It's not that, some elite people, after all, law is meant only for, it seems, only non-elite. And no elite person will ever be caught by the law. Law challenge only for the poor. And when, sorry. So these are the most important things to take care of it. One is maximization of welfare. Second is maximization of as much liberty as possible, give it. Last, of course, you promote virtue in the medical profession. And that is where, your administration, your management should concentrate. Doctors, please become human beings. Please become human beings. That is the best administration you can do to the patients. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry. If you had given longer speeches, I said speech, but you had not mentioned time.
Please, sir, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your scholarly views on this topic. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce you to the chief guest of this webinar, Honorable Sri Justice Ravindra Borde, sir, former Judge, High Court of Bombay. He pursued LLB from ILS Law College, Pune. His Lordship enrolled as an advocate in the year 1980 and joined the chamber of his father, late Sri Manohar Rao Borde, a distinguished advocate, practicing on criminal side at Bid. On establishment of the bench of High Court of Bombay at Aurangabad, his Lordship shifted to Aurangabad in 1981 and joined in the chamber of Honorable Sri Justice A.B. Naik. He was associated with Honorable Justice A.B. Naik for a period of 5 years and conducted various types of civil and criminal matters as well as constitutional matters, including service and cooperative laws. His Lordship also represented Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation, the Central Council of Homeopathy, and the Maharashtra Public Service Commission. His Lordship also rendered services as a part-time lecturer in MP Law College, Aurangabad for 2 years and retired as a judge of the High Court of Bombay in the year 2019. His Lordship has also been associated with the university since its very inception in various capacities such as Chairman of the Building Committee, Member of Planning Board, Executive Council, and General Counsel of this university. With this brief introduction, I would now like to invite Your Lordship to address our participants on the theme of this webinar.
Who are participating in. As Dr. Lakshminath has said something about the morality, ethics, and law. I entirely agree with him. What is law otherwise? Whatever that is morally or ethically wrong cannot be legally correct. So, what is law? after all, those are the principles of ethics and morality. The same is applicable so far as the doctors are concerned. As has been said earlier, there is a common chord between the so far as the doctors and advocates profession is concerned. One who deals with law has to think about the moral and ethical values. The same is true so far as doctors are concerned. The profession of doctors is founded on the principles of morality and ethics. Before starting practice, you take an oath to abide by the ethics and the principles of morality. Now, whatever the simplicity was there earlier in the profession of doctors, now probably that simplicity has lost and there is a corporatization of the practice of the doctors. Now, what earlier this profession of doctors has now become a corporate business. We don't here deal with only the corporates. We deal with the doctors and the group practitioners who come together and operate hospitals. As has been said, law is an interdisciplinary field. Now, every field of education nowadays has become interdisciplinary. Why interdisciplinary? Because an advocate is required to, if he wants to become a good practitioner, he must know something about all the other faculties also. One may get a matter relating to medical negligence, one may get a matter relating to engineering field, one may get a matter relating to some scientific field. You just can't, because so far as the field of arbitration is concerned, you get matters relating to all types of businesses. So you need to have some knowledge in respect of all the faculties. Now, if there is some matter connecting with engineering field, one has to study some basics or take help of an expert. If it's the same so far as the matters relating to doctors are concerned. Now the profession of doctors, which was earlier, as I have said, was so simple, now it has become quite complex because of one, that is the scientific innovations, and secondly, in view of operation of laws which are applicable for the doctors. Now, one who is now operating a radiological clinic, radiological hospital, or radiological investigative tools, now he has to know something about what is that what is that act relating to PCP&DT Act. PCP&DT Act prescribes certain regulations. If you are conducting sonographic examination of a lady patient, now it requires maintenance of F forms, then keeping a book of the subject of law, putting the what you call the telephone number of toll-free number of that whatever the center, and every infraction is said to be an offense. Now, I have come across certain cases wherein the hospital says that, all right, we don't deal with gynecological or obstetric cases. We don't have that branch available, but we do have the radiology department and we conduct a sonographic examination. The objection was that, why don't you maintain F form? Therefore, you are guilty of some offense. Now, here you must know the basics of law. And while advancing the argument, so certain regulations also shall have some nexus with the object that is required to be achieved. Now, such complex situations arise. Now, sometimes what happens is not always that the doctor's at fault if some case fails or some patient suffers an injury. Sometimes what happens, a patient comes to you He may be in a serious condition. Maybe there may be certain reasons. He may tell some different name. If a person is in serious condition, you don't ask him, you are not required to ask him where is your Aadhaar card, prove your identity, where are you from, what is the history. One has to save it, take an attempt to save his life. What happens? You treat a patient, all right, if it's a lady patient, conducts a delivery, then send the child to a public health center or somewhere else. Something happens there, the child dies. Then tomorrow a police inspector comes to you and says that now look here, the woman who delivered the child was a minor and now you are guilty of a POSCO Act. Now what happens? Now in order to overcome such situations and in order to face this what you call threats from the investigating officers, probably you must know something basic. Now otherwise probably if you don't know the basics of law, you may land in some difficult situations. Now there are various laws applicable. Why one should know the basics of law is that if you want to continue with the practice, then probably some unforeseen situations may arise and probably you may not have the answer or you may not be in a position to face the situation. Now the doctors who are to deal with the medical legal cases also have to come across very unpleasant situations because of the probably some investigating officers who may have some different intentions. So there probably it becomes very difficult for you to stick to your ethics and the moral principles and at the same time defend your position also. And in order to overcome such situations, probably you must know some ABC or basic things about law. Then, as I have said earlier, that we don't deal with only the corporatization, corporates, and we deal with the situations which are faced by the common doctors and the practitioners who come together and start a group practice. So this is not the age of an individual practice. Probably some 5, 6, 10 doctors come together and start group practice. Now these groups, a small group of starting with a modest beginning, may face certain legal challenges, and there are always some notorious elements in the society who want to take advantage of your ignorance of law. In order to overcome certain situations, probably you may require some legal assistance. If your hospital administrator or somebody amongst you is well versed in law or at least knows some basic principles of law, probably you can overcome the situation. This is the practical side of it. The second thing is that probably what I imagine is the challenge that would be faced by the doctor community is the advancement or transformation in technology. The technological advancement. Now, where the technological advancement will take us, probably that's a matter to be imagined. Now, we are looking at the telemedicines, advice on telephone and WhatsApp and internet. Then we have many multinationals operating diagnostic units. Now Tata 1mg is there. There are other diagnostic centers. So the pathological investigations are conducted by the multinational companies and through the doctors employed by them or technological staff employed by them. Radiological examinations and investigation side, that is also being cornered by the big corporates. Now, these big corporates who pour a lot of money in the field have found that there is a lot of scope for the development, for earning, and this probably would lead to a stiff competition. One doesn't know whether that would be advantageous to the patient or maybe harmful to the patient. The field of medicine, the doctor's practice, has become quite competitive. And with the advancement of technology, probably this field of investigation, the cost of investigation may come down. facilities, those may be available to the patients, would be multiple facilities and there would be multiple choices available. Then you have the telemedicines. If there is something wrong with the advice given on the telephone or through what is interaction on Facebook or something, so what would be the remedy for that? How the law will look into such problems if some complication arises or some situation arises where the patient suffers certain damage because of the wrong advice. These are the matters to be imagined. Now I have come across an news item wherein some big industrialist from America has said that he is inventing a chip which would be implanted in the brain, which would be useful for certain conditions of Alzheimer and other conditions. Now, probably it may pose, these technological advancements may pose certain different challenges also. If you implant a chip in the brain of an individual, probably one doesn't know, it can be controlled from at a distance by way of a, what you call you are like an apparatus which you operate TV and other things, remote control. Then this technological advancement has led to over dependency on the technology. As long as these technological advancement and these implants help in improving the quality of life, improving probably the capabilities of an individual, that is well and good. But if it goes on replacing whatever the human activities are concerned, so that probably may lead to a doomsday. Once the technological advancement or the chips or the implants, they replace the human activity, then probably these activities or your capabilities to control or do these activities would be permanently lost. So what would be the new challenges of such advancement in technology? Now we have an age of robotic surgeries. We don't know what challenges such robotic surgeries. If something goes wrong with the robot, some commands given to the robotics and something goes wrong, how you will fix the responsibility, whether the responsibility will fix on the technologist or the person who operates or the company which manufactures the robot. So these unforeseen situations and unforeseen challenges are likely to come up, and probably we shall have to be ready to face those challenges. One, why you need the basics of law? One, to guard yourself from the unsavory or unpleasant situations and from those who are likely to take disadvantage of your ignorance of law. To protect yourself and to protect your hospital. And secondly, if something goes wrong, if you are put in certain disadvantageous situation, it would enable you to come out of such disadvantageous situation. And thirdly, so it would also will lead to the healthier growth of your establishment, which would facilitate you to grow, to have a healthy growth of your establishment by remaining within the four corners of law. So these are the things, probably these are the thoughts which came in my mind while listening to the erudite lectures of the speakers who have spoken earlier. Now, so far as this university is concerned, as Honorable Vice Chancellor has told something about the university, I may add something. This university, National Law University, is established. This Maharashtra National Law University, Aurangabad, is established under an Maharashtra National Law Universities Act. It's a creation of a statute. And a representative, a nominee of the Chief Justice of India, is the Chancellor of this university. And another judge of the Supreme Court is the member of a General Council of the university. Then a judge, senior judge at the bench of Aurangabad is a member of the Executive Council and the General Council of the university. And another judge sitting at Aurangabad is also associated with the General Council of the university. State government is bound to provide all infrastructural facilities to the university. And now we have the state-of-the-art infrastructural facilities, and those facilities we are adding to those infrastructural facilities. And probably within a coming few years, so we'll have the completely developed infrastructure. Since this is an university created under the statute, it has under the laws framed by the central government, freedom to design its courses. We are presently operating BA LLB, BBA LLB, and certain MBA courses and other courses. Now we propose to design certain courses for the benefit of the experts like doctors and the captains of the industry, managements, the persons concerned with the management of the industries. Since we have the freedom to design the courses would be designed in order to ensure that those would be helpful for those professionals. And this instant course has been designed for the doctors who are having their own individual practice and who are having the group practice and managing the hospital. I again reiterate that this is not the course only meant for the big corporates. Big corporates are also welcome. So we'll train them also. But it is essentially to facilitate the doctors, to train the doctors, and to help them to understand the legal principles and the law governing the medical practice and the management of the hospital. With this, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Lordship, for your thought-provoking views on legal challenges faced by medical professionals. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Santosh Kakade for his concluding remarks.
Honorable dignitaries of the dais and the participants in this program. Just now we have heard different aspects of healthcare delivery. We have listened to the Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor sir has come out with the need for such a kind of a program and the availability of the infrastructure as well as support from the government and the judiciary. Then few of the aspects I could speak on the laws that govern the medical practice. Of course, there is a lot to speak. I'm sure the doctors who are participating right now, they are aware and they themselves are quite well versed with this particular field. Then Professor Dr. Ramana Murthy has come out with a completely different perspective. That is, it's a business-oriented approach of hospital management. And this university in this program is going to actually take care of this kind of thing. The society is advancing, it is developing. So, not only the laws, but the business aspect also must be taken care of. So, the doctors who are actually practicing should be aware the legal aspects as well as business aspects. So this is the basic purpose. Then Professor Dr. Lakshminath sir, he has spoken the mind of a patient and the society, how the society thinks about the services which are being provided by doctors. It is true that with the advancement of the time, there is commercialization, corporatization, and that's the reason different kinds of laws and acts are coming. There is no single law which will govern all these things. But then knowing, studying, and then implementing for better healthcare delivery is the basic purpose to learn the laws that govern the medical practice. So I'm thankful to Lakshmanath sir for speaking out the mind of a patient, and I'm sure it reached to all of us. The very purpose why we are here is to learn certain aspects, human, ethical, and as well as legal. So this is what sir has spoken. Then we heard Honorable Justice Bode sir. He has actually really pointed out the advancements in the healthcare delivery, and that has created or that has come out with multiple challenges in healthcare delivery. I'm thankful to Honorable Bode sir for elaborating and giving examples in how the new techniques and new delivery techniques are actually developing, and the law taking care of that also need to be studied as well. So with this, I would like to just summarize and conclude that though day by day there is a change in the perspective of the society, the medical profession as well as the profession, legal profession, that is going to remain, and the change is the only constant thing we are aware of it. I would like to just invite the attention of the dais as well as all of you that during the corona, actually the doctors who were in the front, and number of doctors died while serving the patients, corona patients. So this is the biggest service which the doctors have actually provided to the mankind.
3 times.
Yes.
3 times.
Yes. Of course, the whole nation has taken the note of it and thanked the doctors. So serving mankind is the basic purpose of the medical profession. Let that be with a human spirit, and at the same time, with the advancement of the time, taking care of even the management aspects and the business aspects is also necessary. How we can go ethically. So that's the thing. Now at the end, let me say that the program which has been designed, those who will definitely come for this particular program, they will be well versed with the advanced knowledge. One more aspect actually I wish to bring forward, that in consumer courts, not only the advocates, but the others are also, they can argue themselves. So doctors can argue themselves, they will learn the skills as well, how they can defend themselves. So with this, let me stop here. I thank all of you for joining, and I thank the Honorable Justice Bode sir and the dignitaries sitting on the dais for participating in this. Let me thank all of you. If you have any queries or questions, a WhatsApp group has been formed. Even right now, you can send the questions by messages as such. We may try to answer you. So with this, let me stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your concluding remarks and taking an initiative to address this pertinent issue faced by the doctors and medical practitioners. Last but not the least, I would like to request our Honorable Registrar, Professor Dr. Dhanadi Jadhav, to propose a vote of thanks.
Dignitaries on the dais, distinguished faculty members, and doctors in the audience for this seminar on legal challenges before the doctor and hospital administrator. At the outset, I thanks to all the doctors for such an overwhelming response for this webinar. There are two professions which are really termed to be the noble profession of the life. Doctor's profession is one such profession which deals with the life of the patient. And the second profession is profession of an advocacy, where a lawyer deals with a patient who is struggling hard to have an access and justice. During last few decades, both legal profession and medical profession has undergone into a paradigm shift, which really posed the challenges before the medical profession as well as the profession of advocacy. The law deals with the society and societal challenges as it operates in the society and not in the vacuum. Law has to deal with the upcoming complex social legal challenges. As I have said that during the recent past, the medical profession, it has undergone into a change and it has posed many challenges, where the vandalization of the property of a hospital, dragging the doctors in the litigations, ethics and unethics, the dilemmas and the dichotomy with respect to this profession, it has really posed a challenge which required the knowledge of law and legal profession. Maharashtra National Law University, Aurangabad, as it has been stated, it is a creation of a statute, and it gives the liberty to provide, impart teaching learning, need-based teaching learning to cope up with such challenges. As aptly been said by Honorable Vice Chancellor, that we are stepping into such a grey areas of law and medical science, which really provides the knowledge to the doctors so as to cope up with such challenges of hospital administration and management. I thanks to Honorable Justice Ravindra Borde, who has highlighted the changing dimension of a medical profession and the very requisite of knowledge of law. I also take this opportunity to thank Honorable Dr. Lakshminath Sir, who highlighted the peculiar aspects of value orientations and the values which the doctors has to adhere with. I also thanks to Dr. Murthy, who highlighted the managerial aspect of medical profession. I also thanks to Dr. Kakade, who has successfully conducted this webinar, wherein he highlighted the peculiar aspect of various challenges to which the doctors are facing, and he has shared his real-time experiences as a member of Consumer Forum, where the doctor faced that complexities of the law when they handle medical administrations and they deal with the life of the patient. Once again, on behalf of Maharashtra National Law University, I thanks to all those dignitaries who highlighted different dimensions of medical professions and the challenges. I also thanks to the faculty member, those who are present here for this webinar. And once again, I thanks to all the doctors, those who responded with such a overwhelming response for this first webinar conducted here at MNLU Aurangabad. Thank you very much.
Participants may ask their queries in the chat box, if any. Okay, so on behalf of Maharashtra National Law University, Aurangabad, I would once again like to thank our chief guest, our esteemed speakers, my dear colleagues, and all the participants for joining us for today's webinar. Thank you once again. With this, the session is over.